Let's hear about Grant Shapps here. He's the Secretary of State for Defence, so let's go to him and get some opinions. Grant, I don't know if you were listening to us or hearing us, but we're talking about the manifestos that are being published this week and people talking about them. And we were just saying that so often they're not delivered. They're not delivered. It's all talk, and talk is cheap. What would you say?
I'd say it tells you a lot about what the sort of core values of a party are in the manifesto. So I think they're important for that reason. Secondly, I don't think it's true that they're not delivered. I think it is true that sometimes circumstances get in the way, like a 1 in 100 year pandemic would be one of those things, or a war in Europe. I think broadly speaking, actually, governments do try to deliver their manifestos, and in a very important way, which is if something's in your manifesto, then it's much easier pass the legislation on it because of the way, so it's much easier to change the laws if it's in your manifesto, because it will go through the machinery of votes and the civil service much quicker. So it does make a difference, for sure.
But it's interesting you're talking about the pandemic, and obviously we're saddled with huge debt trying to pay off a lot of what we had to spend to get through it as the economy shut down. And yet here you are in your manifesto making these huge pledges. Can we afford £17 billion in tax cuts when we've already got cuts to public services baked into the budget and all this debt around our neck? I mean, we were talking about this on the panel about the public being taken for fools. So people understand that we can't afford this. So why are you offering it?
So, first of all, we did the responsible thing. We didn't, after the pandemic, do immediate tax cuts. In fact, getting inflation down was the very first priority. And secondly, we fully costed everything in this manifesto. So,
but a number of think tanks have challenged your fully costed manifesto.
Let me just say, there are £17 billion essentially of tax cuts, particularly to national insurance in there, but also assistance for people through things like Help to Buy. So you'll be able to buy a house with a 5% deposit, will permanently scrap stamp duty. And for pensioners, we'll have triple lock plus. That means your pension under the Conservatives, your state pension will never be taxed, unlike under Starmer, who will tax your pension. So how are we paying for it? Actually, a couple of things which are really important. First of all, we've said that we will deal with the ballooning of the welfare budget, which has, since COVID,
already been squeezed
very much higher, and successfully so. But if we do nothing, it will be, I think it's about £90 billion more, and all we're looking to do is get 12 billion from that budget.
Just a casual 12 billion. And a little brown envelope from down the back of the sofa as well, in making cuts on, tax evasion. I mean, if it was so easy to claw back this money, surely you'd have done it already. 17 billion is huge.
And we have. Actually, tax evasion is a very interesting one that you raise. We've said we'll get 6 billion from tax evasion. We've already managed to get 6.4 billion per annum from that. And I think it was
by stealing from people, of which I'm one of them. But this IR35, which is the most immoral tax, retrospective tax that people don't really understand, that is going to come for you if you're a window cleaner, a gardener, a teacher, a pharmacist, whatever, where you guys go back and you say, oh, you know the way we said you were freelance or whatever, but actually we've changed our mind, so we're going to look. It's stealing, it's theft.
Well, this is not the particular tax we're talking about here, and I'm sorry you're hit by it, but there's not the particular
tax. So many people are hit by it.
What I was going to say was that Paul Johnson of the IFS actually concedes that we did manage to make the savings that we said we would through changing the tax avoidance rules before. And so when we say we can do 6 billion from that, and when we say we can do 12 billion from not allowing the welfare budget to just carry on expanding. And by the way, it transpires that Labour don't think there's a penny to save from our welfare budget, which, as I say, since COVID, has ballooned. And we'll do that by investing in things like more assistance, a 50% increase in assistance for mental health talking therapies, things which will help people get into work. So it's actually be good in every direction. And that's how we get to this £17 billion. And we're going to use that to reduce people's, particularly national insurance. And you say, how can you believe it? Well, we've already slashed third
Yes,
off
but
national
since
insurance.
you bring
So
up
that's why
Paul
you can
Johnson,
leave.
the director of the Institute for Fiscal Studies, he said yesterday, forgive me for a degree of scepticism as he cast his eye over the manifesto. But we'll draw a line. We'll agree to disagree on exactly how it will all be paid for. Should we talk about the admission from the Prime Minister yesterday that he was not blind to the fact that people are frustrated with him? Are you one of those? I know that your seat is possibly going to be lost. That's what the polls are saying anyway. And, you know, we look at the latest polls and Reform is only 1 point behind the Conservatives. Do you still have full faith in Rishi Sunak?
Yeah, well, look, first of all, I actually think it takes quite a big person to be prepared to say, you know what, I'm not perfect and I make mistakes. And he has done that, and I think that's the right thing to do. But secondly, he's actually somebody who's also prepared to sometimes do the really difficult things. It's not always easy being a prime minister or in a position of power or authority. And here's someone who doesn't just sort of snipe from the sidelines. He has positive, solid ideas. And you've seen in our manifesto yesterday some big, bold ideas, which I think is much to his credit. As far as my seat's concerned, I'd rather leave it to the electorate than all these opinion polls. Just last month, there was an election here in my seat, and based on that, I most likely would have won the constituency. I'm not saying I will. I'm just saying that let's wait until people have voted. As far as I'm aware, not a single person has yet voted in the general election in this country. And I know that a lot of commentators are keen to tell us it's all over. There have been surprises before. Let's wait and see.
Grant, what would you say to people who are maybe looking for something more bold from the Prime Minister in this manifesto yesterday, and you're thinking the deficit is so bad in the polls for the Conservatives, why didn't he just go for it?
Well, you're back to the polls again, but I would say that our manifesto is much bolder than anything that we've so far heard from Labour. Now, you may say, well, their manifesto is to come. 1.6 million new homes built. It was 1 million last time in the last Parliament, 1.6 million this time. We're going to cut tax for every single working person in this country by going further on the national insurance. You've seen us do it before. This time we're going to, for somebody who is self-employed, so everyone who's watching this who is self-employed will have their main rate of national insurance abolished, not just cut. So that's something for working people in this country. And in my own area of defence, we're going to make this country safer by pledging to make sure that our defence budget rises. Again, not something that's been matched by the leader of the opposition. Indeed, on his front bench, he's got a whole bunch of people who voted against our Trident nuclear deterrent. So clear plans, bold plans, and a much more secure future. I think this is a pretty ambitious programme.
OK. My friend, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. Cheers.